Love you.
Okay. All right, here we are recording. So we are so excited. This is a very special treat. And as a part of trying to make the most of what the company has given us for the next 2 months, which is the U Plus Who bonus program, I am so happy to have Laura Durso, Senior Executive Director. Did I get that
Senior
right?
director.
Senior Director, soon to be Senior Executive
Soon
Director.
to be, yes.
Yeah.
I'm working on that, yes.
Laura Durso
Absolutely.
from New Jersey, my dear, dear friend. And it was fun. So when I was talking to Lynn Conway last week, and I asked her, who has got it down? Who's got it figured out? Who knows exactly how to start new consultants in a really systematic and simple way in this company? And she goes, it is Laura Durso. I said, all right, we're going to pick her brain then. So, and I know how Laura works. She uses the tools that the company has given us to their fullest advantage. She does not recreate the wheel, reinvent the wheel. She uses the wheel that we're given because it's so good already. So, Laura, thank you so much for being with us tonight. And I'm turn it over to you. Will you take questions at the end? How do you want to work this?
Absolutely, absolutely.
Okay.
Betsy, I want to thank you, first of all. It's an honor that you even asked me. I really mean it. I was like, oh my gosh, Betsy's asking me. This is amazing. I'm so happy to be here. I will definitely take questions at the end.
Okay.
It's not going to be too long, girls, because I'm really a very simple person. So you will see a very simple system tonight. And yeah, we'll definitely I can answer any questions afterwards.
Great. Wonderful.
All right.
All right. I'm going to go ahead and turn it over.
All
Thanks,
right. Thank
thanks,
you.
Laura. Sure love
All
you
right.
and
Well,
appreciate
girls,
you.
so excited to be here. I love this new program. How many of you are really excited about the program? Are you excited? I mean, how many of you want to make $500, $1,000, $1,500, $2,000 in cash before the holidays? Yeah, right? Me too. I can't wait. So keep this in mind as I'm going through the training, because at the end of the training, I'm really going to ask you girls, tell me where you want to be. What part of the club do you want to be in? Okay. For me, I want to be in the $2,000 club. So I already set my goal. I know what I want to do and I'm working on it. So, we all have goals. So make sure that you are thinking about what is it that you want to make? How much cash do you want? Okay. Now, I know there's many of you on here tonight that really don't know a lot about me. So I am going to just talk quickly about, my journey with Touchstone, because it wasn't an easy one. And I'm pretty relatable to a lot of women because of the fact that it wasn't easy for me. It didn't just come. I had to work for it. And real quickly, I'll tell you that I had no experience in direct sales. I was a manicurist for 30 years. I coached at a local high school for my daughter's dance teams for 10 years. I opened up a dance studio for my students. I did that for 3 years. And I lost my business. Okay. I walked away. I had to leave my business. I lost a huge investment. My husband lost his family business. So we were in pretty bad shape. So I had to work with my husband to get him on his feet again. And I worked with him for 4 years. And then I decided it's time for me. So I went into the fragrance industry and I started working in fragrance. And that is where I met Michelle DeNoble. Now, Michelle and I worked together side by side many times. And I saw her with the jewelry and I was drawn to the jewelry. I was like going crazy, obviously, over it. And she said, you need to join my team. And I did not understand what that meant. But I thought about it as, let me do this as a side gig, as a hobby, to pay back my credit cards. I had a lot on my credit cards. I was just not in the best of my mind frame. It really wasn't a great time for me. But I thought about it and I said, you know what, I'll do it as a side gig. So I did. And it was amazing what started happening. Within 3 months, I started paying off my credit card. Within 5 months, my friends started joining me, and now I'm building a team. And then I was like, wow, I really love this, helping other women to grow in a company that's so amazing. And then I went to Aruba. That was my very first trip. And that's where everything changed for me. I realized that I was with an amazing company. I realized that they were there to support women. And I knew I needed to learn the business. I needed to learn more about how to do this. So I really asked questions. And if you're not asking questions, right, we all just want to make sure we're asking and knowing how to do this. There's a lot involved in Touchstone, right? You guys can see that when we have our family calls, there's so much information to learn. But I'm a simple person. And I have to be honest, I didn't have a launch. No one showed up at my launch party. So I was out doing events every single weekend for 8 to 12-hour days trying to meet people. And one day I got a break, and that party started to change my business. And here I am as a senior director 6 years later. 500 girls are on Team Possible, and it totally has changed my life and my family's life. So I realized was that I wanted to really help women to understand how they can do this. So I train my team, and what I do with my team is exactly what I'm going to talk to you about tonight. So you girls will understand exactly how simple this could be. I also try to help women understand what I was like when I was learning the business, because I'm not one to take in a lot of information. How many of you need time to process things? Is there everybody, right? Like, does it take time, right? Like, I know for me, if someone sat on the phone with me and started throwing me information for an hour, you know, sometimes an hour and a half, I would have been like, okay, what did she just say? What is she talking about? So I start off with the business first. As far as offering the opportunity, I took out the word business. That's step number one. Why did I take out the word business? Because many women feel they can't run a business. Many women feel that there's no way they could do this as a business. They don't have the smarts for it. They don't have the time for it. They think owning a business is going to take up, you know, every minute of their day. So when we're talking to busy moms and people that are out there, I had to figure my wording a little bit differently. So what I do now is I talk about the benefits. These are the benefits of what Touchstone can do for you. These are the benefits that Touchstone Crystal has done for me and my family. And it's been a blessing to have these benefits that came into my world. And I'm happy to share the benefits with you. So whenever I talk to someone, it's all about the benefits. So think about that, because, you know, not everyone is a business mind, right? It's a process. It's about learning how to go about doing this, and the business just comes, right? We know that in every part of this journey, it just comes. So I start off slowly. Now, once a consultant joins me, you know, the first thing I do is I set up a call for 15 minutes. So all of my training is about 15 to 20 minutes. And I tell them, you know, I ask them, first of all, how busy are you? And most of them are pretty busy. And I say to them, how does a 15-minute training call sound to you every couple of days as we get you started so that you can process what to do? Because many women can't process all of this at one time. So I'm finding that the 15-minute calls, I just had a launch tonight, and the first thing she said at her party tonight was, all I can tell you is that I love these 15-minute training calls. So 15 minutes can make a big difference. 20 minutes is the most. So I really just start out with getting to know them. So girls, I'm going to show you what I use. So I use that new consultant Get Going form. Okay, that's in Glam Central. It's the new consultant Get Going form. So you want to start with that very first call. Is all about them. So we want to know, what are their hobbies? You know, what are they looking for? What are their goals? I really get to know that person in the 15 minutes so that it's just a way for me to figure out, how am I going to work with them? You know, what is her schedule like? Does she work full-time? Does she work part-time? So I have everything written down on this form. This form, I'm telling you, is brilliant. So you definitely want this. We also go over, you know, once we get through, what are her goals? What are her monthly goals? What are her long-term goals? Because if I have someone that's saying to me, well, I'm not really sure, I'm just doing this as a side gig and a little bit of fun, that's fine. That's awesome, right? We don't mind what their reason is. We want to know what is their why, but how do they want to do this? So I really try and find out what are their goals, because even though they start off with maybe wanting it as a small little thing, a small little side gig, you'd be surprised once they start getting it and it's processing in their brain. They're like, you know what? I do want to do more. I do want to make more money. I do want to earn more jewelry. So we never rule anything out, but I have to start them where they're at. That's so important. It's helping their shoulders to drop, and so that they understand that, you know, I'm there for them. It's what they want. And I don't say it's your business. I never say that. I'm just letting you know. I always say, this is your gig. This is what you want to do. I'm here for you. I'm supporting you. So you just let me know what you want, and whatever your effort is will be my effort. It's the same thing, right? So that they know. The next thing I do is I set up their launch party right away. We want to get their launch party going so that we talk a little bit about that launch +4 and how important it is to get started right away. I talk about that swan necklace and what a great marketing tool that is when they earn that swan and people are asking them. She can talk about how she represents Swarovski. So she gets very excited about that. And then I leave it as the next call, which is in 15 minutes the next day. I want you to create a list of the people that you feel you would want to party with. Who do you know, right? So we go to the 4 W's, and we actually will talk about who do you know. And the next call is all about me going over with her. Who does she know? How does she know them? What to say, okay? That's huge. They don't know what to say. They have no idea. So I take them into Glam Central to the words to say that are in the new consultant starts here tab, that blue tab in the homepage. I take them right in there. This is the second call now, and I'm actually working with her on what to say to book a party. Okay, now they love that.
Where in the Cube State?
In that 20 minutes, usually that's about a good 20-minute
There's no
call.
flour.
I spend a little bit more
In the
time with her.
refrigerator.
Hey, Kendra, do you mind muting yourself, honey? I'm sorry. Thank you. So basically, I spend those 20 minutes just trying to book a party with her so she can get a feel of what it's like to give someone a compliment, tweak the words to say. I don't want them to use the exact words. We don't want people to sound like a robot, right? So it's really getting the feel of using the words of Touchstone, because we all know the words that Touchstone created for us work. So I make sure that, you know, I'm talking to her about using the words to say, but to put it in your heart. Where is it that in your heart that you want to speak to them? I want her to feel like it's coming from her. Okay, really, really important. Now, I want you to know that on the back of the new consultant Get Going form, I'm writing down all of her people. I use this one sheet, so I know everything that's going on. I also give her the success tracker, because I need to know when her parties are as she's booking them. So in that second call, that's where she gets the success tracker. And as she starts booking parties, it's going to help me to coach her through those parties as they come. So that's the next thing that I do, okay? So I'm now knowing the words to say. We're talking about booking parties. She's got her success tracker. Now I start knowing when she's getting those bookings. The next call, which again could be the next day or 2 days later, I say to her, we want to go and do call number 3. Now, these are all the getting started calls, just so you girls know. These are the getting started calls. We talk about the, you know, what to say and all the words and all of that. We talk about what the 5 elements of a party, right? So we're going to talk about the 5 elements before her first actual launch. So she's understanding the 5 elements of a party at her launch. I go through every element with her. We talk about dress the guest. We make sure she feels comfortable. And I love that one, because that's really getting her to understand what we do, right? And then as she starts booking more parties, now I'm going into the success tracker, and I'm actually going over with her each party she did. It's a really great tool, because once she has the launch, I'm there to help her, right? I'm working alongside her. I'm basically there to be her backbone throughout that launch. But the next party, she's on her own. So I want to know, how did the party go, right? So that success tracker is going to be a great coaching tool for you to know how to help her for the next party. How many people did she have? You know, was it successful? Did you get bookings? What were your sales? So it's a great way for me to make her feel comfortable on the next call. Okay, 15-minute calls, I'm telling you. I know it sounds like I'm on a lot, but I'm going to share with you what we're going to do, especially as we're working on the U Plus Who program, because you can start sponsoring a lot of people and start saying to me, all right, Laura, how do you start training all these people on 15-minute calls? So I'll explain that to you as soon as we get done, I promise. But the 15-minute calls, I've got 3 girls right now in my central group that have been rocking the business for the past 3 to 4 months. They're my top 3 consultants, top 10 in Team Possible for the past 3 to 4 months, selling 4, 6, and 7,000 in sales, booking parties and sponsoring. So it works. The 15-minute training definitely will help you. Okay. Now, once I go through the success tracker at each party, and now I know where she's at, the third call is follow-up, right? So we are talking about, you know, how to follow up with your customers, what to say, how to make sure that, you know, they're happy. Are you able to book parties? It's all about the follow-up and making sure that they're still continuing their business after their launch +4. So I stay very close to them. As we start to grow and we start to have a lot more consultants, try and see if you can train them together. Okay? Try and bring some girls together, because if they're all starting at the same time, I always ask them, are you a morning person? Are you an early bird? Or are you a night owl? They're usually going to tell you one or the other. And I tell them it's a 15-minute call. Do you think you could get on at an 8 a.m. call for 15 minutes and have your coffee in hand if you're not an early bird? And they say, yeah, I could do that. So they do get on, even though they tell me if they're a night owl, they're willing to jump on for 15 minutes. Okay? So keep it short, keep it simple. Let them process the business. Let them process what this company is about. Because if we're throwing too much, you're going to lose them. You're totally going to lose them. And especially in the U Plus Who program, you don't want to lose anyone, right? Because you need to maintain your personal sales at 3,000. They need to have $1,000 in sales to get the cash for you to get the cash bonus. But we want them to continue to sponsor as well, right? So you're always going to be training your downline. I want to give you guys a little analogy real quickly. I want you to imagine that you're at the gym and you're working out your biceps, right? If you're working out your biceps, what are you going to strengthen? Your biceps. That's all, right? But if you're working out your core, your muscles in your stomach, your core holds up your whole body. We all know that. Right? The core is the center of your body. That's the strength. So I want you to remember the strength of your business is your central group. The strength is there. It's not, you know, you're booking parties and you're coaching. This is building your central group. That's your core of your business.
Put it in the microwave.
It took me a while to realize that. I was always helping everyone else. But honestly, girls, if you build strong consultants who become strong leaders, you won't have to hold anyone's hand. You're going to keep bringing in the new into the core of your business, and you're going to keep building amazing consultants and leaders. That's what a simple program will do for your business. It's really amazing. Now, a lot of people say to me, well, what do you do after a launch +4? What do you do after that? A lot of people fall off. So I started something else that has been very successful, because I do have about 3 girls that are ready to be leaders. Okay, they're very, very close. And my biggest accomplishment would be to senior executive director. So I'm really focusing on these 3 girls. But what I did was once they got through a launch plus 4, sometimes I always would say, well, okay, now that you got through a launch plus 4, ask me questions, go to the meeting, stay close. But girls, what I realized was that they still need us. They still need us a lot, right? So if we're just doing the getting started calls and saying, okay, show up at meetings and do whatever, it's not enough. So what I did was once my girls finished a launch plus 4, and they have to do a launch plus 3 or a launch plus 4, I invited them to a special training where it's the Sparkle Up training. It's the future leader training, but I'm not using it as a future leader training for them. All it is to reiterate the getting started 1, 2, and 3, but it's going deeper. It's an amazing training, but they have to be invited. They have to have a launch plus 3 or 4. They have to make sure that they shadowed me at a few parties. You always want to make sure your new consultants are shadowing you as well. Very important, especially before you teach them that the 5 elements of a party, make sure they're shadowing you. I always make sure I'm offering that to all of my new consultants so they can actually see me in action and they taking notes, and we actually go over that. I actually talk to them about them shadow you would do. It's really important for us to show them that we care and that we're there for them and learn from them. You know, what is it? Where are they at? That's what I was always finding. So once I invite them to this once a week, but Sparkle Up training is starting with Sparkle Up number 1 was always talking about the money. I actually skipped that. I skipped talking about the money, and I'm going to tell you why. Because if you start talking about leadership like money and having a team and doing this, again, not everybody, but a lot of women think, what I do is I keep training them in what we do as far as bookings, as far as host coaching, as far as follow-up, which is the warm call report, which that's an amazing training about who do you go to if you start running out of people? How can you find new people? If you go into the Sparkle Up 2, 3, and 4, and then Sparkle Up number 5 is sponsoring. But I promise you, by the time that they get all that information in 2, 3, and 4, 5, they're like, I want to sponsor. I can do this. Because now they feel confident in the business, they're ready to start sponsoring. That's exactly what my girls did. Number 1, they're process the business in the very beginning by going slow. Number 2, you bring them into a Sparkle Up training and you help them to go deeper if they are working the business. You do not do it for girls that aren't showing you interest. This is your time, right? So I always say, these are girls that are serious about learning. I also love the fact with the Sparkle Up training is I did it as a group. So this group, now they're together and they're learning more together and they're making each other accountable and they are truly working all together, which is also really nice. And then basically once they start sponsoring, they got it. I got Dawn Fallon on my team, 7,000 in sales. She's sponsoring. I'm like, do you need anything? She goes, I got it. How great of a feeling is that to hear a consultant saying, I got it, right? And she's got it. Amazing, right? So that's where the strength is building, and it is the simplicity. I think that, you know, bringing our consultants into Glam Central, I had some of my leaders, they were like going into Glam Central and going and hitting buttons with people. I'm like, no. People can go to Glam Central and look themselves. They can hit buttons and read. I could say to them, go in and read, but write questions down for me. And let's have a call and tell me what you have questions on. But you want to train them, get started right away. The biggest thing is they don't know how to talk to people. They don't know how to text. They don't know what to say. You know, they don't know where their heart has to be, right? I always said, my heart is right where I'm sharing a gift. That's where my heart has been since day one. And it's got to come from your heart. It's not about your sale. It's not about who are you going to bring on your team to build your income. It's not about that. It's about who can we bring here to share this amazing gift. Let them see the gift, right? Let them see the benefit of what Touchstone can truly do for their family. And I have a girl that just signed on, and I did her launch. She has an autistic son. She has esophageal cancer. She's 40 years old. And you know what she said to me? This was like a gift for me that it's bringing me back. That's why we share the gift. Who can we make feel good? Right? Because if you go out and you sponsor that way, and we teach our consultants to sponsor that way, they will truly start to see the gift of what Touchstone has, right? Because I used to go out and think about sales, sales, sales when I started, right? I was like, I got to hit sales. I got to get my incentive. If I don't have 5,000 in sales, I'm not going to get my incentive. And I know Terry probably has heard this, but I had a woman that I went to a party, and this woman I call her Grandma Pauline. And Grandma Pauline truly changed my life here at Touchstone. And it was a party in the middle of the day. Her granddaughter booked the party, and I went to this apartment complex, and it was a very bad area. First time ever that I didn't feel safe. And I went into this apartment. They had no furniture. And the first thing I said to myself was, I'm not going to have any sales. That was what I thought. Why am I here? Maybe someone needs the opportunity. So I set up my display. I did everything I had to do. But when I looked, there was a woman sitting in a chair, about 400 pounds, ill, not well. And I remember just looking at her, and it came time for me to do dress the guest. And I said, Pauline, I'm going to dress you up today. She said, no, you're not. I'm too fat and I'm too ugly, and you're never going to get that jewelry on me. And girls, I never heard that before, but I dressed her up and I got that jewelry on her. And when her granddaughters brought the mirror over to her, she started crying. She stood up and she said, I look beautiful. Look at me. Now they're all crying. And I'm like, why is everybody crying? What's going on? They said, Grandmama, her in a chair. So I realized right then and there, this is much more than jewelry. So train your teams to understand this is so much more than a sale. Because I sold a $25 item and my whole business changed. And I know I talk about it a lot, but I really believe, look at what happens in your business that you can bring to your team. What gift have you received? Right? Think about what gifts have you received from a customer or from, a consultant. What's really touched your heart? Because I know for me, that has made me a better leader. And my ups and downs in the business have totally made me a better leader. If I had everything going great for me, how can I be relatable? We can't be relatable unless the things that go wrong, we learn from them. And then I can share that with a consultant and say, well, this is what happened to me, and this is how I did it, right? So keep it simple, share from your heart, and follow the program if you'd like. I always say to everyone, this is what's working for me. You have to make sure things work for you, but why do you want to be on calls an hour and 15 minutes? A lot of you have children, you're probably working, you don't have to do this business where you're on the call 24/7. And I'm really not. And I think that's why I enjoy training so much, because I really don't feel overwhelmed in the training aspect of the business at all. So, anybody have any questions? I know we got a few chat. Let's see. All right. Oh, these are girls just telling us where they are. Oh, Angie said, can I invite a potential consultant? Absolutely, Angie. I'm sorry, I didn't see that there. Yes. All right. All right. Anybody have questions? Do you feel that it's helpful in a way to, take it smaller? Are any of you spending a lot of time training? Do you feel that it's just overwhelming?
Laura, can you say again, you said the first one is launch party, and I know you told me this before, but I'm still taking tons of notes.
It's okay.
Launch party is the first call with the Glam Plan and the Swan. The second one is who she asks with verbiage, and you give her the success tracker. And then did you say the third was the 5 elements and the follow-up? Is that the third or?
No, the third is the 5 elements.
Okay,
Okay, so I make sure that she's shadowing me
okay,
and that we're training in the 5 elements so she's prepared, so she knows how to do a party.
okay.
And then we do the follow-up.
That's the fourth.
Yeah.
Okay,
And then
Thank
after all of that, and they hit launch plus 3 or 4, then I do the sparkle up. 2,
okay,
3, 4, and 5.
okay. Thank you.
You're welcome. No questions? Let's see. How do you get the success track? How do you get success tracker from her? It's in Glam Central, girls. Success tracker is in that training and tools bar. If you go into either new, you can go into the leader section. They moved everything around now. I'm still trying to figure that out. So it's definitely either in the leader section and I believe new consultant. Absolutely, it should be in there as well.
And I think it comes in their kit, right?
Yes,
In the
it's
kit,
in
I
the
think
Ready
so.
Set Glam. It does.
Do you print out one of those as well, or do you just keep everything on there? Do you print out one for each new consultant as well?
I do,
You do,
and I
okay.
attach it. Yes.
Okay,
You want to, yeah, I have to be honest, that has helped me coach better. And girls, I do use the coaching questions that are in Glam Central to help me coach my new girls. That's another great tool Touchstone gives us. There's coaching questions in there. So if you know that they're not booking well, go to those questions. We don't even have to make up questions. Everything this company has given us has been an amazing blessing. That's all I can say. I've never been in direct sales, but you know what? I've had many jobs and I never had anyone guide me the way that this company guides you and gives us the information. And I always talk about, the family calls. They are strong. They are amazing. So if something isn't going well for a consultant, then I will look into the family call and guide them to watch a certain call that will help them, whether it's a birthday bling or host coaching or, following up, whatever it is. There's so much for us to train them, but bring them to that so they can watch it and then have them ask questions to you. Have them write down the questions and then come back, because that's making them accountable. If we're getting crickets and we're not getting anything, okay, move on and we sponsor somebody else who does, right? I've had many girls that were crickets, many girls that were not accountable, but that doesn't bother me because everybody deserves a chance. And if they want it, they will. And if they don't, it's okay. Just keep moving forward. I don't hold on to anything. I really learned to let go a lot, which is good. You don't want to hold on to anything or try and save people. How many of you feel like you have to save someone? I used to feel like that all the time, right? I was like, I got to save her, right, Carrie? I was like, I have to save her. Yeah. We can't save in a simple way. Simple is duplicatable. More than 15-minute calls, they will be able to do 15-minute calls. Even my own leader team, a lot of them were not doing 15-minute calls, and they finally came back to me and said, you were so right. You're right. This is much easier. So we want to make sure that, let's do that, right? Why not? Like, we have an amazing business here. So let's build that empire of amazing women. And I always say, be the leader of amazing leaders. And this program will definitely help you to build that and build amazing leaders in this business and strong.
Laura?
Yes, Liz. Yes.
Lashandra has a question in the chat that says, how in the world do you keep the calls to 15 to 20 minutes? So is it a case where if it's going long, you just table it to like, hey, this is a great place to stop. We'll start up again.
That's right. We do that. Yeah. So I always say to them, first of all, I get right down to business. So there is no like chatting about anything, but the first call is really all about me getting to know her. And I just ask the questions on there. It takes 15 minutes. And then I say, okay, great. So tomorrow, do you have time? I would love to go over with you the words to say. So today, I want you to think about, who do you know? Who loves jewelry? Who could use the opportunity? You know, who likes to have fun that you would want to party with? I mean, Teresa Correo, she's one of my top leaders. She came to me the very first time with 20 names. She's where she is now, almost an SD, because why? You see that in them. Make them accountable to come back to you and have them do their job, right? So now the next call, they're ready to roll and I'm ready to roll. We got to get them when they're hot, right? Get them when they're hot. Show them, listen, this is what we're going to do, but quickly and easily. And if they see how simple this is, they're going to want to keep doing it. They're going to want to keep doing it.
Okay, so there's
okay.
enough yet. I don't know if you're seeing the questions.
Thank you, Liz. I appreciate that. So that's a great question. But I have them. This is what we're working on today. I just keep it on. This is what we're working on today. I want to get to know you. So I'm going to ask you some questions. And if they sort of get off it, I just go, all right, so let's go back to me getting to know. I want to know a little bit more. And then tomorrow we'll talk a little bit more. And I have a consultant right now who's going through a lot of issues, a lot. And she talks about everything but the business. But you know what I said to her? I actually said to her, you know what, Sandy, I love you. You're awesome, but let's keep it positive. Let's keep this conversation positive. We only have 15 minutes. So I want these 15 minutes to be positive. Let's talk about how we're going to build you. And girl, she stopped. Right then and there, she stopped. Right? Take control of your calls.